Do you ever pay attention to guys like Graham Hancock and Randall Carlson and these guys that think that there was a huge reset of civilization?
I've heard about the reset, but I'd talk more about that because
they think that there was natural disasters, probably comet impacts, around 11,800 years ago. And it reset civilization and probably knocked us back into the Stone Age.
Yeah,
and that it makes sense if you think about when you're talking like 1,000 years ago with the Vikings and 2,000 years ago with the Romans, and just how savage and barbaric people were. But yet thousands of years before that, they built the pyramids. Like, how'd they do that? Well, if something happened that like wiped everyone out back down to like just pure savage people that just scratched and clawed to stay alive, and then they rebuilt civilization, boy, you would have the echoes of that barbarism just running through cultures. And that's what we have.
Yep.
And that's really, when you see the Vikings, when you think about the Mongols, you think about the horrific shit that people did to each other just a couple thousand years ago. And then a few thousand years before that, you have this immensely sophisticated civilization in Africa that's building giant stone structures in perfect geometry. Like, what happened? What the fuck happened?
It has to be. It has to be.
Makes sense.
I totally believe in that. This is what's the documentary called?
Graham Hancock's is called Natural Catastrophes.
Yeah.
Ancient Apocalypse.
Ancient Apocalypse.
I'm so terrible with
He said natural
catastrophes. Ancient Apocalypse.
Ancient Apocalypse.
And Graham's is I believe it's 7 pieces. 7. How many parts is it?
Hold on, actually.
It's at least 4. But it's all different.
I watched it.
It's amazing.
It's fucking great.
It's amazing. And this is what he's pointing out. And archaeologists are very hesitant to get on board with it because they've been lecturing this different narrative for so long, and they've been writing books, and they don't want to say they were wrong, but it looks like they were wrong. It looks like the idea of the start of civilization being around 6,000 years ago is a restart of civilization.
That has to be.
Yeah, it makes sense. Because when they're finding these structures like Göbekli Tepe in Turkey and a lot of the ones they believe in Egypt.
Have you been to Egypt?
No, I haven't been there yet.
Dude.
I heard it's insane.
I climbed to the center of the Great Pyramid.
Yeah?
Fucking wild energy in there.
Oh, I can imagine.
Fucking vibrating. Like,
really?
Like it's fucking
like
weird.
You feel it?
Yeah.
Or is it just like
no, you feel it.
You're
you
freaking
can almost,
out because you're there?
No, you can almost hear it.
Really?
It's like this weird energy in there, yeah. It doesn't feel like it doesn't put off like a bad vibe or anything. It just feels like electric in there. It's like, what is this, a fucking power station?
What is it?
I don't know. They say it's a tomb.
Yeah, but that's not real.
That can't be real.
I don't think that's real because
why would they they wouldn't spend that much fucking time and manpower.
I mean, maybe they would if the king was that much of a baller, but I just don't think that it makes sense. First of all, I don't believe they've ever found like a dead pharaoh inside of one of those things.
No.
I don't think there's any real indication that it's a tomb.
And they're like, oh,
it's
it
just
got
speculation.
robbed. It was robbed.
They definitely were. I mean, they robbed.
But why
the
would you
shit
take
out
a
of those.
body?
They definitely did.
I looked into that recently. Remember?
Yeah, they eat
them.
them. They used to eat them. Yeah.
Up until like 100 years ago, they ate them.
Yeah, people would have ceremonies like rich people's houses, and they would unwrap mummies in front of their guests. Yeah, it was like an English thing, right?
Even up until
Sounds like an Illuminati thing.
Until
It does.
1909, they would give people ground skull for just like headaches and shit like that. Ground up skull. The ground up mummy was called
Mumia, right?
Yeah. Mumia, yeah.
Jeez.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
That's fucking weird.
Yeah.
Bro, if there's one place that I could go see what the fuck was it like, it would be ancient Egypt. That would be the number one spot. I'd be like, I gotta see, what were you guys doing? Like, how'd you do this?
Well, then
Show me how you move a rock.
Yeah, well, I think there was water flowing through that area.
Well, there definitely was. The Nile River's there.
Well, the Nile, yeah, but I'm talking about right next to the pyramid. Like,
why do you think that?
Because there's no fucking way. There's no way they move that shit through sand.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, they rolled them on logs. Motherfucker, that's sand. Those logs are just going to sink into the sand.
Well, it wasn't necessarily sand back then. See, this is the crazy thing about that area, is that where there's like the Sahara Desert used to be vast greenlands.
Yeah.
It used to be like a jungle, and it receded and became this what we see now, all the sand. And Egypt in the early days, like 9,000 BC, I believe, that it was a rainforest.
Yeah.
So like that same area where now it's just sand and dry, it was like torrential downpours all the time. That's one of the
kind of like
reasons.
Pangea, right? When we
Yes.
had just one continent, it was just a tropical,
Things
a giant island. Right?
that was a long ass time ago. Though.
Yeah.
This is not that long ago. But this, when they're talking about the dates of the pyramids, one of the first pieces of evidence that they discovered was there's a guy named Dr. Robert Schoch out of Boston University. He's a geologist, and he was examining the Temple of the Sphinx, and he was like, "This is water erosion." It's like there's thousands of years of rainfall that's caused this erosion. And all the other archaeologists are like, there's no way, this is impossible, because the last time it rained in the Nile Valley was like 9,000 BC. Yeah, it's really nuts. So that means it was thousands of years of rainfall before that. So that means these things have to be 12,000, 15,000 years old, 20,000 years old.
20.
Like,
It could
how
be,
old are
yeah,
those?
20. That's what the guide that was with me. He was like a local guy, that lived there, and we kind of just met him hanging out. And he's just like, "Hey, you want to fucking really learn about this thing?" I was like, "Yes." So
Oh, wow.
he started filling me in on all this. He took us all around the city, and he was like, "Listen, these things are so much older. They'll tell you these things are only like, a couple thousand years old. These things are like 15, 20,000 years old."
Wow.
He's like, and there was water. He said there was water that flew through here. And that's how they said they brought these rocks in by boat. They brought them in by boat, and then they would roll them up, and they would use elephants and all kinds of other shit to pull them up.
I would love to see what they did.
And
I
when you
wonder.
see the size of these fucking stones, dude,
Yeah.
granite and marble and fucking, they used to have gold capped on. They were
Yeah.
gold capped on the top, like
And
how,
smooth limestone.
It's
Of the whole outside
it is
of the
perfectly
pyramid.
fucking smooth. Like
Before they fucked up the outside of it, because that was all looters
Yeah.
that turned the outside all jagged. It used to be smooth.
yeah.
What
Well,
a-
and then who knows what that fucking city is built? What's underneath that city?
Right.
'Cause
What
if
was there
all-
before them?
If you don't believe that cities are built on top of cities, go to fucking Europe.
Right.
And look and see how every fucking city is built on another one.
Yep.
Where they came in and then fucking knocked their shit down and built right on top of it.
Yep. They find that in Mexico City too.
Yeah.
They're always digging around. They find like Aztec stuff, and they have to stop. Yeah. Fuck, man.
And what was before that?
Right. What was before that? Like, when did they start? When did civilization actually start? Was it 30,000 years ago? Like, when
Was
did
it
they get
100,000 years
yeah.
ago?
Well, they keep predating modern humans too. They used to think, or they keep moving the date rather. They used to think modern humans were like 50,000, 100,000 years old. Now they're getting close to like 1 million.
Yeah. That's fucking.
It's a lot of time to learn shit.
Think about the difference between 100,000 and 1 million.
Yeah. Well, think
mean,
about the
think about
difference
how much
between the
evolution can
Viking
happen.
times and now.
Yeah.
Not that long.
Not that long.
Like that. Yeah.
Electricity changed a lot of shit too. Once electricity and the internet.
Electricity, and then combustion engines, the internet, air travel, everything. It's like every time some new thing happens, everything moves much, much faster.